everybody, my name is Agustina Indah Bahari. Today, I would like to tell you a story entitled Snow White. I believe you know the story of Snow White, but today, let me tell it again to you. Let's check it out. Once upon a time, there lived a very beautiful princess. Her name is Snow White. Her hair was long and black. Her skin was very white and her lips was very red. That is why she was called Snow White. She lived in a very big place with her stepmother. Her stepmother was also very beautiful, but she was very cruel. She wanted to be the most beautiful woman in the world by asking the same questions to her magic mirror every day. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful woman in the world? And her mirror answered, "You are the most beautiful woman in the world, my queen." But one day, she was very surprised because her magic mirror told a different answer. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful woman in the world now? You are beautiful, my queen, but Snow White is the most beautiful woman in the world now. The queen was very angry. Then she called her trusted servant to bring Snow White away and kill her. As the substitutions, the queen wanted her servant to bring Snow White hearts to her. But fortunately, her trusted servant was very kind-hearted. He did not kill Snow White in the forest. Don't kill me, please. Don't kill me. I promise I will go away and will not come back anymore. Snow White begged to the servant. Go away, poor princess, the servant said. And as the substitutions, the servant killed a deer and took its heart and brought it to the queen. In the forest, Snow White was afraid of being lonely in the darkness. She didn't know where she should go in this forest. Where should I go? I'm afraid being lonely here. But suddenly, she found a small cottage in the forest. She came closer to the forest and knocked the door. Anybody home? Anybody home? Said Snow White, but no one was inside. Snow White opened the door and came inside. Inside the cottage, Snow White saw 7 dirty plates in the kitchens and 7 dirty beds in the bedrooms. Snow White cleaned the house and feeling very tired and fell asleep in one of the beds. In the evening, the 7 dwarfs came home. We are coming home, we are coming home. And when they came inside the cottage, they were very surprised. Who is sleeping on our bed? Then Snow White awake and very surprised to see the 7 dwarfs. Then Snow White told about the sad story to the 7 dwarfs. The 7 dwarfs understood the conditions of Snow White and accepted her to live with them. Meanwhile, in the place, the servant came back and bring the deer's heart to the queen. And now the queen asked again to her magic mirror the same questions. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful woman in the world now? And the magic mirror answered, Snow White was still the most beautiful woman in the world now, my queen. Now she is living with the 7 dwarfs on a cottage inside the forest. The queen becomes very angry, and now she thinks the way how to kill Snow White. Then she disguised herself to be an old woman who sold a bucket of poisoned apple. Snow White has been warned by the 7 dwarfs not to open the doors to any strangers while the 7 dwarfs are working outside. Then the queen walked into the forest and arrived at the cottage. No, I can't open the door for anyone, for any strangers. The 7 dwarfs have warned me. The queen answered, Okay, but let me give you this apple to you. No, I can't escape anything from anyone. Snow White always tried to reject it, but the queen continued to persuade her. Finally, Snow White opened the door and take an apple from the queen. Snow White ate the apple. Then she was poisonous and fell with a pale face, and an apple fell beside her. When the 7 dwarfs come back to the cottage, they were very surprised to see Snow White was lying on the floor with a pale face and an apple beside her. They think that Snow White was died, and the 7 dwarfs become so sad. Then they tried to make a bedding for Snow White made of a very beautiful crystal. Every day, the 7 dwarfs waited for the miracles that when Snow White came awake from his dying. One day, a very handsome prince from another kingdom came to the cottage, and see, there is a beautiful princess was lying in the bed that made from beautiful crystal. Then the prince came to the 7 dwarfs and asked them to tell what happened, and the 7 dwarfs told it to the prince. Let me have Snow White, and I will make her happy after this. But the 7 dwarfs rejected. No, we cannot be separated from Snow White, because Snow White is ours. But the prince continued to persuade them. Okay, I will not only bring Snow White. If you give Snow White to me, I will bring also all of you to be my brothers in my place. Then the 7 dwarfs agreed with the prince. Then the prince came closer to the Snow White and touched Snow White's lip by his finger. Suddenly, Snow White awake and come closer to the 7 dwarfs, and the 7 dwarfs become so happy because finger touched by the prince can remove the evil spell on Snow White. Then the prince asked the Snow White to marry him. Snow White, will you marry me? And Snow White accepted his proposal. Yes, I want to marry you. After that, Snow White was brought to the place, and Snow White with the prince, also with the 7 dwarfs, live happily after in the palace. That is all my story about Snow White. Hope you enjoy and like it. Thank you. Bye bye.